Hey everybody, Mark Dawes here. Now, if you are an SIA, a licensed link trainer that is approved through your respective awarding organisation to deliver any of the following courses, which is door supervision, security guarding, vehicle immobilisation, CCTV or close protection, then you may be aware, or you should be aware, that in April this year, April 2020, new changes have been brought in by the SIA, and one of those changes requires that a learner turning up on your licensed link course must have an emergency first aid at work certificate with a minimum of 12 months left to run on it. Now, what some SIA trainers are doing, and it's the right thing to do in my opinion, is they're going to their respective awarding organisations and saying, look, can I be approved to deliver the emergency first aid at work course? Because that makes absolute sense to me, because if you can't do it, you've got to send your learners off somewhere else to go and get the emergency first aid at work certificate, and if that somewhere else is also running the licensed link course they want to do, then they may actually go and do everything with them because they become a one-stop shop. So to keep your customers with you, it makes absolute sense to actually deliver the emergency first aid at work course. Now, there is a problem though, and bear with me because I want to explain this to you fully, so stay with me on this. When you apply to run the emergency first aid at work course with your respective awarding organisation, they should check three things. One is that you have a level 3 teaching qualification, like level 3 award in education and training, or a level 3 and 4 petals, the old petals with the principles and practices of assessment in it. You also need to have a 3-day level 3 first aid at work certificate. They're the qualifications. The third thing they're meant to check is sector competence, and this is where the problem has arisen and will arise for other people. SIA trainers mistakenly believe that the sector competence they have in delivering licensed link qualifications is automatically going to grandfather over as being accepted as sector competence to run the emergency first aid at work course, because the inclusion of this has been brought in by the SIA, and it's not the case. Sector competence for delivering licensed link qualifications is one thing, sector competence for delivering an emergency first aid at work course is another. Now, the problem that's happened with one trainer is that this trainer went to his awarding organisation. He said, I'd like to deliver the emergency first aid at work course. He sent them the qualifications. They said, yep, no problem at all. He needed to do a couple of modules on the principles and practice of assessment, but they approved him to run the emergency first aid at work course without checking his sector competence. So imagine what's going to happen after he's run his first course. What normally happens is after you deliver your first course, a standards verifier comes out and they check all the paperwork's done and they check all the processes are correct and everything's been done the way it should be. If they then ask to see his sector competence for emergency first aid at work, and he hasn't got it, all of those certificates for all the people he's trained are not going to be issued. Now that means that if those people are booked to do a licensed link qualification, they can't do it. There's a problem for them. Now, at best, they're going to come back and ask for their money back. At worst, they're going to look at reporting the person for mis-selling. They can actually sue for loss of income and all sorts. So it is a major problem. But let's imagine for a minute it gets worse. Sorry to paint a dim picture. Let's say he gets approved by the organisation to deliver the emergency first aid at work course. He runs his first course. SV comes out, and the SV doesn't pick up on the fact that his sector competence is not the competence he needs to be delivering emergency first aid at work courses. So they approve him. And then he runs 3 or 4 or 5 courses, and he trains about 100 people, and they all get their certificates. If there's a change then in SV, and it's picked up then that he didn't have the sector competence, possibly all of those certificates are going to be revoked, which means all their licensed link qualifications could be revoked, which means you're going to have a lot of people coming back to you, asking for their money back at best, or possibly looking to get some sort of compensation for loss of income because they'll lose their license if they didn't have the correct qualifications, so you have technically missold them. This is potentially a big problem. So what we've decided to do to solve this problem for you is to give you a 1-day course that will give you the sector competence to run the emergency first aid at work courses. So if you have a level 3 award in education and training, or a petals level 3 and 4 with the principles and practices of assessment in it, you have a level 3 3-day first aid at work certificate. If you attend this 1-day course, the trainers we have will put you through all of the correct assessments that you need to do in line with all of the correct guidance that will give you the sector competence, which means that when you run your course, there will be no issues whatsoever. And that could literally save you hundreds, if not thousands, if possibly not tens of thousands of pounds if these problems arose that weren't picked up initially. Now, it's on the 11th of March we're doing this. It's at the Lilleshall National Sports Centre near Telford in Shropshire. We are going to be limited on places on this, so if you are an SIA trainer, you've got your Level 3 award in education training or the pedals equivalent with the principles and practice of assessment on it, you've got your 3-day at work, a Level 3 First Aid at Work certificate, and you want this sector competence to deliver the emergency First Aid at Work course, that's the day you need to be on. There's a link below to a web page that will explain all this to you in detail. Go to that web page, please read it. It is really important for you, and if you're interested, put your name and email in the opt-in box and we'll keep you posted of how this course is filling up, and then when we go live on it, we'll give you priority booking so you can book your place on there before anyone else. Okay, but the benefits of doing this is that you get to keep all of your learners in-house. You don't have to send them off somewhere else to do stuff. Also, it's going to help you income generate a bit more as well, because you'll be able to deliver the emergency First Aid at Work course, and we circumnavigate this potential massive pitfall that could occur if you run courses that you're approved to run that you don't have the sector competence for because no one checked in the first place. Okay, links below. Go and have a look at the webpage, put your details in, and hopefully I'll speak to you soon.